and the right role and the terminology that they use and the shape of the body, and so that when I depict this fight, it's accurate. With the book that is about to be released, we did a lot of research on steam railroad. I had no idea some of these terms that were used. I had friends that that worked in the railroad, but I had a friend who was an engineer. But I didn't know half of what I know now about the rail. But if you're going to talk about a railroad, you're going to talk about a train car, you need to know what the terms are, and so that you can refer to them correctly. And so there was a lot of research.
Oh yeah, every single time it's, how fast can a horse go? How prolonged can they do a gallop? What does a horse sound like when it's uncomfortable, when it's happy? Just and then listening to horse noises at 11 o'clock.
How do you describe that?
Yeah, at 11 o'clock at night. It's not just neighing; it's chuffing, and it's all. I'm like, well, how do I spell that?
That's amazing. Like all the things that go into writing a story that we don't think about, like, how does this sound? How does this work? Because these are things that we're not familiar with in the day-to-day. Unless, I don't know if you're wrestling crocodiles on the daily. I don't want to make assumptions.
She's retired.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't want to make assumptions. Be like, so, how was the wrestling yesterday? So, growing up, clearly you were both readers. If you're like this, into writing at this point, what were your favorite stories growing up?
I was a big Stephen King fan.
Oh, okay.
Some of the first full-length novels I remember reading as a kid were Stephen King. I read Carrie. I read Christine. I read Cujo. I read The Stand when it first came out. And most of that was because my mom was one of the Book of the Month Club subscribers. So these books would come in, and I'm like, I'm gonna just run off with this and go read it. And he has remained one of my favorite authors, not just for his style and his substance, but because I love the fact that he is such a dedicated author, and he is dedicated to the art of writing. So I'm a fan.
Did you borrow them without permission too?
Maybe the first couple, and then my mom realized that she was, where's my book? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you have it back.
I used to take them off my mom's bedside.
Yeah, there was some of that
So
too.
I was like, oh, this looks good. And, 3 chapters in, it's so terrifying, but you still got to finish it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not what I thought it was, but I'm still going to finish it because I can't not know the ending. And what about you, Tony?
A lot of Dragonlance novels.
Okay.
Hickman and Weiss, that did it. A lot of Anne Rice in high school. And then, but prior to that, it was whatever I can get my hands on. I read stuff that I probably shouldn't have been reading. Like I was reading Highland Friday. That was one of the big introductions, the 7 Deadly Sins of Science Fiction. I was anything that I can get my hands on. I grew up in poor, and so getting books, the school library only so much, but that's limited. But there was other things. Friends would have a copy of something laying out, and much how I choose wine sometimes. If the label looks great, I'm gonna give it a try. So if the cover looked interesting, I'm like, oh, what's this? And sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad, sometimes I had just no.
Fuentes' mythology.
Yeah.
I think at least our generation, was probably one of the big motivating factors for continuing to get into writing mythology and studying mythology was this great big giant book of mythology. Granted, it focused primarily on the Greco-Roman myths, and there's so much more out there. But getting that introduction to mythology in 5th and 6th grade probably was influential.
Yep, and with that mythology came the late. Did you ever get the later understanding? Like you get the glazed over mythology when you're younger. And then later you're like, my.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the difference.
They didn't tell me that in 5th grade.
Well, yeah.
Right?
What's the thing? This is Greek mythology. Greek mythology without Zeus screwing things up.
Yeah, no, it's different when you get the grade school mythology and then you actually go read the Metamorphoses or the Aeneid, or any of the other
You find out like the
classics.
full backstory.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're like, oh, this is why they didn't talk about. And then you understand like why your 5th grade teacher did not tell you the entire story.
Yep.
Because they, probably wouldn't have had a job.
Go watch Old Yeller.
It's probably kinder than many of the original myths.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was a rough one too. So we talked about authors, author influences. Any other authors you'd like to mention? I know you mentioned Stephen King.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. A lot of the authors that inspired me and created the writer that I am today, if we look at them now through the lens of today's society, are very controversial. A lot of the fantasy writers that were very popular when I was growing up now have some histories that we don't like to talk about. And you get into the discussion of, do you separate the author from their work? And I know that that is a huge debate on a lot of the boards and a lot of the forums, no matter where you are and what genre you work in. Do we talk very quietly about David Eddings? Do we talk very quietly about Mary Zimmer Bradley? And the influence that they had on sci-fi and fantasy, and yet hold the things that perhaps they did. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And those are authors that influenced me as a youth to want to continue to write. But now you look at them and go, I don't know that I want to mention that.
Yes. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Tony? Because I'm definitely in the same camp where you see some of them and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my. Yeah.
The way I've always pictured it, when I read those stories, I enjoyed them or I hated them, depending on whatever it was. Either I liked them or I didn't. And then, was it Picasso? Picasso, amazing artist, horrible human being. You could still appreciate the art. You just don't. I separate them. I'm still like some of the modern fantasy stuff. I liked it when I was younger. Not anymore. I mean, it's there. It's part of pop culture. We can't undo anything about it. We just move on. We try to do better.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because it's just like and we continue to find out author histories or pop culture histories. You're like, oh, they did that. Oh my, and you have to make that personal decision of whether or not, And I like what you said. Just keep moving forward and keep making better choices
we have
on that.
to be better people.
Yep.
All right. What do I want to ask next? I'm going to throw in one of my fun questions here. When you're writing, what's your beverage of choice?
What time of day is it?
Well, okay. We could start with if you're writing in the morning. What are we drinking?
I'm not awake in the morning.
Okay, so Tony's not drinking
I'm
anything
drinking
in the
coffee.
morning.
Well, I
Because
can't.
he's sleeping.
I can't even write in the like writing process. I don't write in the morning. My brain doesn't turn on till the sun falls down.
Okay.
It's
That's
weird.
true. I never see anything from him in the morning, so
Yeah.
I don't.
Or if I'm in the office, sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
but
So if you did, you might be concerned. I was writing at
why
8
are you-
a.m.
Are you
Yeah.
okay? So yeah, no, I'm coffee. I'm a
Okay.
coffee girl.
Coffee in the morning. What about afternoon, evening?
Probably tea or a diet beverage.
Scotch.
Any certain way? Any
Neat.
preference?
Right, or Scotch whiskey, and I'll probably chase it with the beer, and then but mind you, it's sip, type, sit back, lean back, stare at it a little bit, watch the movie, replay it, have another drink, put it
Yeah.
down, then so on and so forth. And then, sometimes red wine.
Tony's my stunt liver. I've been sober since '99.
It sounds like there's a myriad of beverages
Yes.
Yeah.
going on here. Like there's a range.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would challenge your readers to be like, figure out who and what was going on
Who
when this
wrote
part
this?
was
Yeah.
being written here.
That's the magic trick.
It is.
Have you ever had that where your readers be like, hey, is this your part? Because,
Sometimes.
like, they
Sometimes.
notice
Which
your
one of you
style.
wrote this? Yeah. I try really hard. One of the things that I do in this marriage of creation is